Hi, and welcome to the Man Myth Podcast. I have a special guest tonight, Matt from Beard Laws. Matt, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Matt. I mean, you did a great job. I feel like I don't have to overly introduce it, but yeah, I'm Matt with Beard Laws. I don't know why they call me Beard Laws, but they do.
I mean, with a beard like that, I don't think you have to wonder too awful much.
It's true, and I actually did create many Beard Laws that are copywritten, so I guess that's probably why.
He did give me an 8 point something on my beard on TikTok, so he knows his stuff.
That's a good rating too.
That was
I
when
think
I
I've
had
only
the
done
long
one in the 9s, couple in the 8s. Most are like 5s and 6s. Like,
well, a lot of these guys try to pull off these beards. I keep mine short now because of work, but I don't need it getting stuck in an elevator part.
I mean, there's that.
Mine grows like
all right, so Dad, you know that
all different ways. So
oh,
it's hard
yours
to-
grows fine. He's overly critical of his own.
I mean, we are our
Beard.
worst kind of, critics and judges when it comes to the beard game and everything. But if you ever need, some advice, Pops, I got you.
All right.
All right. I know all the proper products, the best stuff. We can get that beard so it doesn't go everywhere, just to
Let me go down.
fall down nice.
Get down. Get it elongated here.
You had it pretty long for a while.
Yeah,
But then it-
just there's an itch.
I think it
Itch
started
phase?
getting on his nerves.
Yeah, it's definitely there's an itch phase, and then the warm weather's coming too, so that's another.
See,
Another
the itch
factor.
phase is due to lack of hydration of your face. So you get a good quality beard oil, you won't have the itch stage. And did you know that actually beards keep your face cooler in the summertime? It's like a built-in air conditioner. It reflects the heat, keeps the moisture in with the sweat and everything.
Oh, nice. May have to give it a try.
And that's why he's called Beard Laws.
More. The first law of beards:
Hydration.
hydration.
Lots of hydration. For sure.
All right, so yeah, Matt, we asked you to come on. I really appreciate you coming on for us. I know you're a busy man, got a wife and kids and sports and all that. So we really appreciate taking the time out. Now, do you know what our podcast is about? Like, I know I explained it to you a little bit, but have you listened or caught up or anything?
Yeah, actually, just listened to most of last week's episode, wide receiver today.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what we're doing here. We're just trying to get these myths and stereotypes of the manly man out of the culture of manhood, and being able to not only express but to deal with and communicate your feelings in a healthy, positive way, instead of what we've been taught to do. Most of us have been taught to do our whole lives, and that's push it down, hide it, be okay, be the rock, which we're trying to show you that you can be both of those things. You can be a rock, but you can also show and express emotion and deal with it, and you don't always have to be okay. So
Yeah.
that's the whole myth we're trying to dispel.
Yeah.
And today we have a special, I don't know what you want to call it, subject matter. Dad, take it away.
So today, in honor of Matt, we're going to. The title is "What Really Matt-ers," and when we talk about that, we'll bounce this back and forth between beard care and self care, because I think there's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of things where we can put our attention into a routine, and that helps. Like we were talking before, I don't grow my beard long because it gets to the itch phase, and Matt's just like, hydrate, right? Hydration's huge in just what we do day to day, health wise. People, and as a chiropractor for 20 some years, I get people all the time saying I can't drink water. I'm like, well, you can. It doesn't taste like Coke, right? Or whatever it is that they're drinking, sweet tea down here, right? And that isn't gonna, those aren't gonna hydrate you. And I think it's probably the same thing like you talked about with beard, a good beard oil. So I'd imagine there's some out there that could actually take it away from your beard, or does nothing for your beard, just kind of waste the money. Is that true?
Yep. No, 100% true. Yeah, there's, I always get around there. There's the good quality, and there's a lot of great companies out there that do it. But there's also a lot of companies that are just kind of in it to make money, and they truly don't care about your health, your beard, and anything else. Great at marketing some of those, but just terrible products.
Yeah. So when we talk about what really matters in the way I look at it, it's change. It just is dynamically changing all the time. But what really matters to me is like family. And the more I have things, the less those things matter. And when I watch people that actually have things that are high value that they actually use instead of hanging on the wall or whatever, it makes a difference to see the joy that brings for them. Now, and we have this thing I call box cutter syndrome, because it's exactly how I used to live. I don't as much now. But if you have 100 box cutters, which, 100 is probably too big. If you have 10 or 12, you're never going to know where they are. If you have one, you have to know where it is. You have to take care of it. But, if you're doing something and you have one, you're like, oh, I just left it over there. It's in the yard. It's over here. You paint them all orange. It doesn't matter. You're still going to lose them. But honing into and making the list of what matters to us and focusing on that and adding the quality care to that and being part of what brings us joy. I think that's an important part of what really matters, and honing in on that. I know with Bobby, it's like family's the main thing.
Yeah, family's it. And I think Matt's pretty close with that perspective too. And it also has a lot to do with I would be here without my family. If it wasn't for them, I would have taken a totally different road in life. So and they just make me happy. So nothing makes me happier than the kids getting excited when you come home. So.
Yep. Yeah, like you guys said, family life's definitely important, and we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. The balance is kind of to tie everything in that we talked about. The balance of doing what I do with the shows and content creation and family life and coaching and everything. Running one kid here, this kid there, that one there. It's one of those things you spend a lot of time hustling. Maybe not always 100% happy, but at the end of the day, the reward is definitely there with the kids' happiness, and you love to do it. And I'm thankful to, have parents that, were there for me always, carting me around and being at the sport events and stuff like that. So it's kind of thankful I was raised that way. So I do the same thing with them,
Yeah, did your parents ever forget you to pick you up from something?
Oh, probably. Oh, yeah. Or they would just be like, hey, walk. Well, it really is uphill both ways where I live. And they're like, yeah, see? It wasn't just a story I told you. At least you have shoes.
I'll give Mom crap for that until the day I die. Because, yeah. But no, they did. They made sure I always had, soccer was huge with me. I played golf with Dad. I spent my summers playing golf for 2 or 3 years. I was just getting up, going to golf camp in summer, but we were always doing something, and it's nice that my kids want to do that. I'm just happy they have the same drive and willingness to do that. The boy's a little bit more than Hadley. Hadley's still she's a girl, and she's like a girly girl. She wants to just dress up, do all this stuff. But she still has her own interest, and she has stuff she wants to do, so it's still good. But as long as they find a passion and they find something they enjoy, that's what's really important. It doesn't matter if it's sports or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For me, it was I've told my daughters you can do just about anything you want. Cheerleading's not one of them. We play basketball in this house.
I'd do anything but cheerleading. I can't say anything. I was a cheerleader
So far,
in high
so
school. So, but
I just told her basketball. That's it. And thankfully, and I coach, and we send her to camps and all that good stuff. So
He says he was a cheerleader in high school, but he was also one of the football players. So it wasn't like he was.
Yep.
Yeah, they grabbed a bunch of football players and said, "Can you lift people?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can lift people. I can lift heavy things." Then they weren't heavy, so it didn't really.
Yeah,
it was a piece of cake. But yeah, I think when we talk about, again, if we go into what matters, and one of the things is being in a safe environment to communicate. I think that's very important. And a lot of times you have that, with spouses or, there's close friends. We had a group of guys, and Bobby knows a lot of them, that we golfed with years ago. And that was kind of, every weekend there was 5 to 8 of us, and we tell story. It didn't really matter as much what we talked about, is that I knew that if I needed to say something, I had that venue to say it, and the same thing with them. And then if we needed something else, something a little bit more personal, we also had the group of guys that you could just call at any time. And I think, if we just pull into the things that really matter, it's making those connections and having that communication. We walk through divorces and injuries and all these job changes and dilemmas and all this stuff. And it was funny because, I'd come home and my wife would ask, "What'd you guys talk about?" I'd be like, "Nothing." Because it was just something that it was our personal space. And a lot of times we didn't. We just throw a bunch of golf quotes out there and made fun of each other, and it was fine. But if it was a time when we had to sit down and chat, or there was something deeper, we were there for each other.
Yeah. But I think you were pretty lucky to have a group like that. I don't think a lot of men, especially your age, have that privilege. Because I know even guys my age, a lot of guys you can't talk about certain things with. They'll just tell you to suck it up, and it doesn't matter. It's whatever, Even if you were going through a tough time in a marriage, they wouldn't care. So it's just nice that you had that group of guys, and I knew the group of guys, and they were all accepting of me, a 12-year-old kid that was out there playing golf with them. It was just a great group of guys.
Can I just share my favorite golf story with you? About you? So
Sure.
Oh, we got to hear it.
We're out playing, and I bring Bobby along, and there's a guy named Brian. And Brian is like distance matters kind of guy, right? So I hit the ball a little longer than him most of the time, and then Bobby comes out. Brian doesn't hit a real good drive. Bobby hits a drive past him. Brian says, "Man," he says, "that's all I need is 2 boardmans out driving me now." And Bobby looks at him, straight face, didn't hesitate, and he says, "Well, you should be glad my sister's not here." That was one of the best lines. And his face was just like, they're all the same.
That's the reason I had to be like that, because Dad was that way, and I had grown up with him, so I know exactly what he would have said if somebody said that to him. So I was like, well, this is how it's going to go down, because
that's good.
to this day, my wife still goes, if he's coming up, she goes, "Oh, great, 3 of them now," because Grayson, my middle son, is exactly me. So it's just been. She's like, now I get it all the time.
How about you,
But
Matt? What kind of support system do you have?
I have a good support system, friend-wise, family-wise. I'm very grateful for that, and grew up with, I moved schools a lot as a younger kid, so I kind of learned a lot of social skills for that, which at the time probably wasn't overly thankful for it, but looking back at it, wasn't a terrible thing, and grew up with a really close couple of friends in a very small town, and to this day we still chat, not see each other as much, just life's busy, kids, work, stuff like that. We still keep in touch, but it's one of those things that they know and I know. If I ever want to talk to somebody, I'm very thankful. We don't have this suck it up pride type thing. We talk. And we're best friends. If something's going on, we look right in the eyes and we'll tell them we love them. We don't care. You know what I mean? Like, we truly do love each other like brothers, and I'm very thankful for that. And kind of that tough guy mentality. I've seen it a lot, and just kind of, it's one of those things. I've seen a lot of the toughest guys. They all go to the bar. They play the tough guys. They'll play their darts, their pool, their foosball. But once those beers get flowing and something's really bugging, well, there's always that one guy in every crowd that brings it up. And then they, kind of have their moment and talk. And, of course, I don't remember. I never said that. But, no, I'm thankful for the support system I have with family and friends.
And it's so awesome to hear you say that, because when we started this podcast, part of me was worried that we would just run into a brick wall of men that are going to deny it. You know what I mean? Deny the way that we all know we can be with, especially our close friends. We can all be vulnerable, but a lot of men find that a weakness, find that as a weakness, and that's not what it is. I think it takes more strength to be able to talk to somebody and pour your feelings out and tell them the truth. And it definitely takes more courage to tell the person to let the person tell you the truth and not judge them. And just let them, if they need to vent. If they need to just talk, just let them talk. And a lot of guys, I felt like a lot of guys didn't have that, but I'm finding more and more that men are evolving as we speak, and it's so awesome to hear some of the stories that I get. We're not huge, but I still get at least 1 or 2 texts a week from people saying, "Hey, this episode was really great. I really enjoyed it. Hey, I'm always here for you if you need something." Even fathers around around with sports and stuff. I've had dads that have said, "Hey, I've struggled with this, and this. It's so nice to hear somebody talk about it." Well, that's what we're here for. Nobody's talking about this, and we've all had friends or family or someone close to us that has either been depressed or has God forbid, taken their own life, and that's when it really started hitting me. We see all these men taking their own lives, and it's because they didn't have this support system, or they didn't have like we talk about, the toolbox a lot. They didn't have the tools to help deal with, or to show that they needed to deal with what was really going on in their lives, and then they just take the ultimate. I call it the ultimate selfish act, which people think is, I'm sure some people think is brash or rude, but it's the truth, because you don't have to deal with any of the aftermath after that. The only people that do are the people that you love. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I want to get this message out there and be able to tell people, listen, that you're not alone. There are plenty of people. I'm one of them. You can get through this. Your life can get better, and we all want your life to get better. That's the whole point of this whole thing, is to just get men to talk, to learn, to listen.
Yep.
How about you, Matt? Did you suffer with anxiety, depression? Have you had those issues, or?
Yeah, I've done that. Still kind of battle with it sometimes. Thankfully, it's kind of under control. I mean, I'm not a bashful person by any means. I talk to a therapist still. You know what I mean? It's physical therapy for your brain. as he tells me, and it's something that is a part of my life. And I'm a person that doesn't overly like taking medicine and stuff like that, so we've found a happy balance with that. And honestly, and I think these days it's more acceptable. I mean, obviously, as a kid, you don't really see, that kind of side of things, and shouldn't have, hopefully. But I think it's a lot more, easily accessible, not with all the different services that are out there. Where you can do it from your house, you can go and see somebody. I think, a lot of people have, the anxiety, or they're introverts or whatever they may call it. Maybe it's just part being lazy or embarrassed, but it's not an embarrassing thing at all. And I'm thankful for it. I've battled with it, thankfully, not to an extreme of, self-harm or anything like that I've seen people that I know go through it. Thankfully, it hasn't been that bad, but hey, maybe nipped it in the butt. And we've all gone through some terrible stuff in life, and I'm thankful to come out on top and be where I am.
Right, and we are happy that you came out on top also. My dad will love that because he's a big no medicine guy, being a chiropractor and holistic and everything. So it's nice. Yep. And I think therapy is a great way for people, especially like you said, nowadays you can have text therapy sessions, you can have call therapy sessions. You don't even have to be around the person. Yep. So, and I think that helps people loosen up a little bit. It helps open that door just a little bit to people that might not have taken it if they had to sit in a chair across from somebody and pour their heart and soul out.
And there's a lot of celebrities that are being advocates for it too, whether it's genuine or whether they're paid to say it. At the end of the day, if all these kids are looking at like Steve-O from Jackass, he pushes one of the things, and all these other guys, the podcasts and stuff I listen to, these celebrities, comedians, whatever else they might be, they're really pushing it, and it's kind of a really good thing, especially with everything that's happened over the last couple of years and people getting a little more awkward and
Right. Well, and I like how you said, I don't know if it's for the money or if it's genuine. To tell you the truth, I don't care. Same. If it's for the money and and they're putting the word out and they're getting this, good. Take the money. You should get paid. But the word needs to keep going, because we have a lot of people and we're so polarized right now with everything going on in the country. We have to get united again. And it's such a sad thing to watch. I have friends that won't talk to each other because of political views. And it's just political views. And I mean, Dad and I don't agree, we don't agree on everything, but what we do agree on is that we both have the right and to our own opinions, and we respect that. And that's where we need to get as a people, instead of just being like, oh, you don't agree with me, then I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's just so hard right now, like you said, with the COVID and people being pent up in their houses for a year and a half, and we've taken steps back, I feel like.
On the political side of things, the thing that really frustrates me about it is there's probably 10 differences between the liberals and the conservatives that they argue about. There's got to be millions of things that we all have in common, which that's where we should be focusing and making sure that the little people, us, the middle class, are taken care of, right? Instead of trying to worry about, a lot of the foreign stuff that's going on right now. What about the domestic stuff? People aren't, the homeless and all these things. They're here. Those are things we need to deal with, not all this other stuff that, in essence, that's going on. That should be promoted. That the feel good stuff should be promoted in media, not the. I call it page. If you look at page 6, that's where you're going to find the news of what's really going on. All these little things that happen are little diverters from what's really going on in the system. And